Alright, folks, so last night I started preparing my crock pot for a beef stew and cleaned it up real good. Got my mixed vegetables that are packaged just for stew from the meat market that I got the other day. Comes with the red potatoes, the celery, the onions, and the carrots. All packaged for me. Then we want to rinse them off real good. Make sure they're good and clean before we cut them up into smaller pieces. It's important to get everything clean. So then we take the potatoes and we're just going to slice them into small wedges to put into the crock pot. Some of these potatoes are a lot larger than others. This is one of the larger ones, so we want to cut them into wedges, but we don't want to cut them up too tiny either, because I like my potatoes a little bit of chunk on there. So yeah, you just want to prepare them, different sizes and stuff like that. Yep, just like that. That is perfect. And then you just dump them in the pot. Then we're going to cut up the celery. The onions don't need cutting, they're already cut like they need to be, and they didn't really include a lot of onions in this particular package. Usually I get a lot more in there. Maybe they're having an onion shortage or something, who knows, with the way the world's working these days and times. But yeah, you just want to kind of cut your celery up like that, and you want to cut your carrots into different size chunks. These are those similar to that right there. Those are those baby carrots, but that's what it looks like when you get everything cut up and done, vegetable wise anyway. So then you want to add some sweet mild banana pepper rings and some of the banana pepper juice into the mix. This really helps with the flavor. This is optional. This does not have to be done. This is just something I do for the added flavor of the banana pepper. So I just dig out a good many of those rings. Not too many, just enough. Adds the flavor and the texture. And a little bit of that juice. You see me pouring it there. Pouring juice and taking out a few more rings. And then check to see if it's enough. Oh yeah, that looks perfect right there. See, not too many, just enough to make a difference in the flavor. Alright, from there we got onion soup mix, and then we want to just take out one package of this onion soup mix. This really helps to add for the onion flavor, especially since I didn't have as many onions. It is not optional. You have to use this. Well, I guess you don't. It depends on your preference, but it's better with it, in my opinion. But I got this recipe a long time ago from someone, and it has never failed me, and it's made great tips with stew and also entire roast. Just gravy. It's like a brown, thin type of gravy, but it is an absolute must for this stew recipe. Any stew recipe that you want to do, whether it be beef stew or roast beef, this works the same for both. So we just want to open that up and pour that in there like this. Make sure you get it all out. Get it all out. Yep, it's out. And then a pack of ranch dip mix. You want to just slice that open, tear it open, and then take the contents of that and pour it right in there with the other two mixes and all those vegetables, and get it all out of there. And from there we take our beef. And I chose to go with the beef tips from the meat market. As you can see, that this meat market that we get our meat from is very clean. There's very little prep work in anything that comes from that particular meat market. All of their vegetables and stuff are pretty clean when you buy them, and their meats. But right there, I'm just rinsing them off anyway, because that's just me. I just like to be extra precautious. You don't have to really overdo it on the rinsing with the meat, but I do like to rinse it off and then just dump it in the pot. Make sure you remove the little silicone gel pack, and then getting my wife to hand me a plastic mixing spoon and a Coca-Cola. That Coca-Cola is imperative for this recipe. We are going to take this Coca-Cola and that spoon, and we're going to pour it into the stew, and it is going to combine with those gravy mixes, and it is going to make the best, most tender, most juicy stew that you have ever tasted in your life. But yeah, the Coca-Cola is definitely a must-have, along with the mixes. Those are a must-have. Use any kind of vegetables you like, any kind of beef you like, but this is my method for doing it. And then stir it all up really good. And then you want to take about a half a bottle of water, or more if it takes it. You just want to make sure that the liquid is covering just the right amount of liquid, where the beef and the vegetables are all getting some moisture there, some of the liquid. And then you just want to cover your crock pot, and then you want to, I'm going to set mine on low because, like I said, it's 10 p.m. and I'm going to set it for 10 hours, so it'll be ready by 10 a.m. in the morning. So that is how we prepare our beef stew. Now it is day 89 and it's time to prepare the cornbread. You start with some simple Jiffy cornbread. This is a cornbread hack recipe that I come up with as a latchkey kid, me and my sisters. This one is actually my personal invention here. So you take a box of regular Jiffy, and then you get some regular cornmeal. I like to use the Scarecrow, the White Lily brand, and then you just get a measuring cup. I use a cup, the cup size measuring cup, and I'm going to scoop out 2 cups of that regular cornmeal to go in with the Jiffy corn mix, if I can get it to scoop out. As you can see, I left my cabinets of all my stuff open in the back. We got it pretty organized back there. Didn't mean to leave that open. But yeah, about, it doesn't have to be precise, but close enough to a cup. And then you want to get one more cup, kind of on the same similar pattern as that. And you want to add that to the mix. This is going to make a very thick cornbread, depending on the size of your pan. Next, you want to get 3 eggs. We raise our own chicken, so we've got Easter eggers. We got 1 large and 2 medium eggs here. If you got large eggs, just use 2 large. If you got medium eggs, use 3 medium eggs. There is no wrong amount, in my opinion. But that is just what I am doing. So I'm cracking open those eggs right now, and I'm just adding them to the dry mix. And I really love those different colored eggs. We just about don't have to dye eggs for Easter. They're so beautiful the way they come prepared. Those Easter egg or chickens are pretty neat to have around. So I'm just now disposing of the eggshells because can't have those lying around. I don't want to get eggshells on none of my food. That is a pet peeve of mine for sure. No eggshells for me, thank you. Next we're going to grab just some regular whole milk, or canned milk will work just fine, whatever you prefer. I'm just using regular old pet cow milk. That's a brand in my town, and just want to kind of eye it, pour it in there till you think it's good, and if you have to add some. You want to get a pretty liquidy but yet thick consistency. Practice makes perfect when you're doing stuff like this. I would rather have it too runny than not enough, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in there to enhance the flavor, plus it actually helps with the non-stick process. And then you just mix all of that together really well. Make sure you just stir and combine until, like I said, it's a thick consistency, and add more milk if you need to, or as needed. So you want it to look something like this right here. See how that is thick but not too thick? That's about perfect. That's about the consistency you're looking for. This has been actually sitting for a few minutes. I like to let it sit for a few minutes, and then I just come back and I stir a little more on it, just to make sure that all the dry ingredients got off of the bottom, because that kind of sticks to the bottom if you're not careful. Now I'm going to cheat. I use parchment paper to line my pan with, and my pan is circular, so I actually take a pair of scissors, and it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but I kind of cut that parchment paper sort of to the shape of that circular pan. Just like that, and then I just want to, then from there, you just cut little slits in it, because the paper's not going to lay down perfect, so I just put slits all around it, so it'll lay down on the sides of this glass pan that I'm using. And then you just want to add your mixture into the pan. You can see the slits that I've got cut right there. Like I said, the circle is not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect unless you're a perfectionist. Then you can definitely make it as circular as you want, but I never have really felt the need to get it exactly perfect. This method of mine turns out pretty darn good every time, at least from my experience so far. And if you decide to try it, it will do the same for you as well. But that is what it looks like. And then you just want to kind of spread it around and thicken it out on the sides. Get it up against the sides as good as you can. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because the parchment paper does all of the non-stick work for you. So even if it's not perfectly round, it'll still come out and turn out to be a very good cornbread, because at the end of the day, we're just going to break it up and mix it up in our stew anyway. Unless you're like me, I like to eat whole pieces of cornbread at a time, so I have to be really careful with this stuff, or it will blow my intermittent fasting for sure, my results. So definitely for me, I have to be careful. So then I've got the oven preheated to around 395 degrees, and then you just put it in, and you kind of check on it from time to time. Don't walk away from your cornbread. It's very important to clean up the bowl that you use for the cornmeal mix, because if you're a southerner, cornmeal and grits is something you do not want to leave in your cookware or your mixing ware. Alright, so this is the first test, and you can see that little bit of moisture on the knife. So it is not quite done, even though it looks done. So I'm just going to add it in for about another 5 to 8 minutes, somewhere in that vicinity. And then from there, you take it out again. See, it's a little darker this time. And that is about the consistency you're looking for right there on the knife. There was nothing to pull out with it. So, happy dance time. We got our cornbread. We got our cornbread. We got some cornbread. All right. So now it is time to take you a regular plate and make sure you get you a pot holder and a towel. I'm using a pot holder and a towel for this. Then you just want to flip it gently. Be careful, you don't want to fly everywhere. This is glass and porcelain, it'll break. And as you can see, we got the perfect cornbread. And then all you gotta do is just take off that parchment paper. And then it's a little tricky because I've got those slits cut on there. And you can see it turned out very nice. Very nice cornbread. I was actually pretty pleased with myself on this one because I have had fails in the past, but like I said, I've done this enough to where I can just about get it every time now. And I got some cornbread. I got some cornbread. Give me that cornbread. I want this cornbread. Give me this cornbread. I got my cornbread. I know I'm a nut. But anyway, from there, you just want to cut it into triangular slices. Individual serving sizes of this cornbread. Because we fixing to eat us some of this cornbread, man. It's fresh and it's hot. Look at that right there. That is beautiful. That yellow comes from those farm fresh eggs. It is smoking in my hand. Check it out. Look at the steam coming off of that. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm telling you right now, that is good right there. You just don't know. I could eat just the cornbread without the stew, but that would be a tragedy as well. We cannot do that. So I just take the rest of my cornbread that I didn't eat, and I'm going to smush it up real good there. Make sure you get it all good and crumbly up in there, because we fixing to pour some of that stew on top of that right there right now, because cornbread and stew go great together. So I got me a soup ladle that's got a strainer on it, so I can make sure I can get plenty of vegetables and juice, to moisten up that cornbread within my stew mix. And now is the moment of truth time. Oh my God. Look at there. Look at that. Look at how well that turned out. Look at the gravy in that stew meat. Oh my gosh. Folks, you just don't know how good this turns out until you try it for yourself. And I'm here to tell you right now, you will not regret it. This is a awesome stew. Alright, so it is 11:24 a.m. I'm fixing to have to take my daughter to school. Look at that. Steam still coming off of that. Oh. Y'all, man, that is good. Oh my God, that is so good. That cornbread in there. Excuse me. Cornbread got lodged in my throat. Man. cornbread is so moist, y'all. I could just go eat it by itself. But that's a cornbread hack. We learned as latchkey kids to take that Jiffy cornmeal mix, which only calls for 1 egg and a cup of milk or something like that to make it, straight from the box. But if you got some cornmeal like I had laying around, we like that scarecrow cornbread, that white lily or whatever it's called. You mix that in there with it, add, depending on the size of your eggs, we got Easter eggers, we got our own chickens, and they lay small, medium, and large size eggs. So I put a large, a medium, and a small in here, but 2 large or 2 medium or 3 medium, no way is very wrong. You don't want to over egg your cornbread, but you mix that in there and some milk. I just eyeball the milk. I can't tell you specific measurements. But I can tell you this. No one that has ever eaten cornbread that I make can tell it's Jiffy anymore, because it when you add the regular cornmeal in there, it changes the flavor of that Jiffy. It still has a hint of the sweetness, but not overpowering like it normally is, and it tastes more like traditional cornbread. And yeah, that's how I cheat. I cheat all the time. But so what? It is good. They ain't nothing like them red potatoes in a stew beef like this. Oh man, that is good, y'all. Carrot. Now, I ate most of my cornbread. I don't like too much cornbread in my stew. I like the taste of the soup. That Coca-Cola gives it a sweetness that you can't hardly identify. It doesn't quite taste like added sugar, but it gives you a sweetness that you just have to try it for yourself. Don't be scared. You do not taste ranch in there. You do not even taste the Lipton onion soup mix like you normally would in other recipes. It just tastes like good beef stew. You can taste the Coca-Cola and the all just gravy over everything else. Man, that's so good. With a piece of that celery. I love that package that the meat market has, all packaged up. Everything that you would need for a roast or a beef stew like this. Had your carrots, potatoes. I have to chop them up, of course, but they got everything there for you. Just the right amount. Had the onions and the celery, the carrots, and the potatoes all in one package, and they give you 2 bay leaves, but I don't use those. Mm. Oh man, that's so good. It is a cold day too today. It is in the 40s outside right now, but this has got me sweating a little bit because I've been in there cooking the cornbread. Like I say, I prepared the beef stew last night. Sorry, I can't share this with you. It's too messy. That is hitting the spot, y'all. So easy to prepare. I'll be eating another bowl of that in a little while. That is going to be my food for today. We'll talk to you in a little bit. So this is me eating my last bowl. I decided to mix me up another chunk of that cornbread up in there, and fixing to go pick up my daughter. So this was around, probably about 3 p.m., 10 after 3, somewhere around there. And I'm going to eat this last bowl here of stew for today. Very good meal. It's a 2-med day with the stew. And that is all. Until tomorrow, you folks have a good one.